Clyman. I'm a Tai Chi Qigong Neigong master. I help people, period. I fix people. My website is qigong.com, spelled C-H-I-K-U-N-G. And I'm the creator of a technique called emotional liposuction.
How do you fix people?
Well, that's what it's called, and that's what they call it, and that's what I call it. How do I fix people?
Yeah.
That means they actually change right in front of me and get better. Mm-hmm. Most people that I treat come in because they're pissed off. They got anger and or rage. Mm-hmm. Half have, well, actually 80% have anger and or rage. Mm-hmm. 50% have abandonment. And about 30% have bitterness.
How did you come to this?
This came to me about 20 years ago. I had a girlfriend that wanted me to give her that special treatment. And I did. She used to lay down on the table and like make little squeaky noises, and she was okay. And 2 years later, I was doing my first personal power training workshop in a weekend. Mm-hmm. And I asked for volunteers, and people said, they all raised their hand, and I found in my first workshop, I found anger, rage, fear, guilt, and abandonment. And I came back to Chicago and I told my clients that I had here, and all of them said, do me, and I've been doing it ever since.
Mm-hmm. How did you find this passion? Are you doing what you feel passionate about?
I've been passionate a long, long time. It didn't just start. When I was playing, I hated sports. I sucked at everything. I was uncoordinated. I used to get hit in the forehead with baseballs and jam my fingers with footballs, and I could never dribble like normal kids. I was just a nerdy Jew, and I had no skill whatsoever mechanically, for sports. But I was fighting the Irish growing up because, I thought my name was Kiker Sheeny until I was 8 years old. And so I was in like 1,000 fights before I was 16 years old, and I had permission from my father. In fact, he said, if you ever get in trouble for fighting because you're Jewish, you never have to worry about getting in trouble with me. Mm. So the difference between me and everybody else in America is none of them ever had permission.
Permission to
do anything. Permission to be themselves. Permission to make decisions. Permission to feel good about themselves. Permission to decide. They've always been yelled at, and they were always told, you're a piece of shit, and who do you think you are? You don't deserve this. You don't deserve that. You should be quiet. That's what everybody I see, and that's everybody. That's their history. They never had permission. They were never okay with their parents or anybody else.
Well, how did you get that permission?
My father was special.
How was he special?
He was 1 in a million. And he didn't want me ending up a different way. Mm-hmm. So I was okay in his eyes. And I was getting bad grades and misbehaving, but, I was always told, whatever it is that you decide to do, you could do. Uh-huh. So it took until I was 21. I played music ever since I was 12 or so, but it was never great. Yeah. But when I got in martial art, even though I never was really great, I finally found something that I could do like one step after another. Mm-hmm. So, people have said that I'm gifted, and people have said that I'm special, but I am proof that you don't have to be special or gifted. I am hope to others because I worked really hard to get this way.
Can you say about how hard you worked?
6 to 10 hours a day for 10 years.
When was this?
Started in '73 when I was in Taekwondo. I wasn't doing 6 hours a day of Taekwondo, but I was doing 3 or 4. And I'd work out at home a little. I'd go to school. I'd have 2 classes in a row. I'd work out in between. Actually, I asked my Taekwondo teacher when I was a very, very, very early beginner. I told him I wanted to be the hardest working American student he ever had. And he said, okay. So When everybody else was taking breaks, I wasn't. When everybody else was taking it easy, I wasn't. He leaned on me. He made me do stuff. And I made myself do stuff that nobody else was doing.
Like what?
Like running barefoot in the snow in the winter. Like running up the hill barefoot in my, Taekwondo stances up a hill. Like training, 3 or 4 times a day, even in Taekwondo. I'm not talking about Tai Chi. So, even though I had limited tools and I would have a limited body type for Taekwondo, big torso, stubby arms and legs, it's like the wrong art. Mm-hmm. So after a year and a half, I switched to Tai Chi. I was referred to my Tai Chi system, and it was the right thing to do, and it was right, period, and I excelled. And I never even had a hard Tai Chi class. Mm-hmm. Because I pushed myself. Mr. Han, my Taekwondo teacher, taught me how to practice. And when I got to Tai Chi, I learned what to practice.